So we hear many times the Dalai Lama says that the purpose of our lives is to be happy. And like Venerable Lam said this morning, we're just so confused about what that happiness really means. And we receive very mixed messages from society. It's not what advertising, social media, and society tells us. It's not about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And it's not about fame, having the perfect family, or having the perfect vacation. That might bring a tiny bit of happiness for a moment, but it's so temporary. And what His Holiness is talking about is so much bigger and vaster than that. I like the phrase that happiness is an inside job, that it really is work about turning our minds inside, not the external pleasures and happinesses. And to me, what that really ultimately means is having an understanding of reality, of how really things really exist, of who I really am, and in living in harmony and peace with others. And really, in my mind, that's what a mind of bodhicitta is a mind that is totally in tune with reality and really thinking about others, not that sense of a separate self. And it's in recognizing that we're not separate, solid, or isolated or independent that can actually bring so much happiness, by recognizing how supported and how much kindness I receive really brings a lot of joy. I've been playing with the word interfluence. It's kind of a combination of interdependence and influence, because in recognizing that both of these two factors are so huge in kind of reality, that I'm so influenced by how others think, what they're saying, their actions, modes, behaviors, and I'm also so interdependent on others' actions and efforts. And also it goes both ways, that my actions and efforts also influence and affect others. So recognizing this interfluence really brings a greater sense of connection and peace and happiness, and also a much deeper sense of appreciation, which when I can really continuously keep thinking about that, it makes my mind much more peaceful and happy. Another factor is really being in touch and in tune with that motivation to be of benefit, to again repay that kindness, to show that appreciation by recognizing all the efforts and the kindness I receive and wanting to repay that kindness. And that really helps shift that view away from the narrow focus of me, and breaking those habits of chasing the eight worldly concerns, which are really, again, all about me and my temporary happinesses. I've been noticing lately the habit of rushing to get things done, my tasks done, so that I can have a little bit of free time, which in my mind equals happiness, which isn't really a logical conclusion. That often I'll rush through and do things to have this little bit of free time, but my little bit of free time I'll often spend kind of decompressing and relaxing, and if I spent those activities to rush and caused, and if I was driven by the afflictions and I was disrespectful, my little bit of free time, I'm not going to be happy in that, because I'm going to be swirling around in my free time, regretting my past actions that I did to get that piece of happiness. And I've been really seeing this kind of this level of impatience. And I think a big part of it is coming from taking my tasks too seriously, that in recognizing that I have all these different tasks, but there's also a lot more flexibility in getting them done, that I don't have to get them done right in my timeline, in my way, and not helping anyone else. And it's actually been a lot more joyful to be able to have that flexibility. I recently watched a teaching by Lama Osel, and he said, throughout one of those wise darts that really stuck with me, that he said, the reason you lose patience is because you think you are more important. And I was like, oh, like that just rang so true, of like, I'm impatient listening to someone talking or having to do these other things because I think my things are more important. And I don't have time for your things, which you think are more important, but my things are more important. And that was just really helpful in looking at that of like, oh, okay, like that's why I'm getting upset or, yeah, irritated is because of that perspective, thinking that my time and tasks are more important, my free time is more important. And that view makes me unhappy, makes me miserable. Geshe Tabke was recently talking about this, that when we make that distinction between self and other, we also have that distinction and that sense that I am better and the other is not as good. And so it's not just that separation of self and other, but it's a next step of like, I'm separate and I'm better. And that can be really dangerous. And so we want to keep working on seeing ourselves as equal, not just equal as far as that we all want to be happy and to not suffer, but equal in that we all hold this view that I'm more important than you. That can be helpful in recognizing, oh, other people are, yeah, rushing through and wanting to do thinking their things are more important than mine, just like me. And so that can help kind of loosen things up and bring in a better sense of forgiveness and understanding. And let's see. We can, yeah, just recognizing that equalizing, that recognizing that we really all just want the best for ourselves. And yeah, thinking about ourselves, thinking as I'm more important, that view, again, does not lead to happiness. So yeah, so lately I've been really reflecting on being clear on keeping my motivation to be of benefit and the joy that comes from that, the joy of that flexibility and that joy in really wanting to repay the kindness of others. And especially to the seniors and to venerable children who have put in so much effort in the past, who have made this place possible. I think that's one of the kind of the fruits of the full ordination was just a huge, deep sense of respect and appreciation in seeing all the efforts and actions that have happened in the past to make this place possible. And reflecting and appreciating that brings a lot of joy rather than just expectations. So another fruit of my self is from the full ordination is kind of a deeper sense of self-confidence and not needing to prove myself, not needing to prove myself with my roles, my actions, my external doings and kind of responsibilities, but just enjoying doing whatever I have to do and not holding it so tightly and seriously, holding it as this is me and this is so important. It's like, okay, this is what I have to do and it's wonderful to be able to help. And which is also an incredibly helpful attitude to have in a community that's always changing and flexibility is kind of a required condition. But it's when I can really be in that sense of really just wanting to help, it's a lot nicer. So I've been finding a lot of joy in kind of a little phrase that I've come up with of just to humbly, happily help. It doesn't really matter what I'm doing, but if I can have that attitude of just humbly, happily helping, no matter what it is, then that's good. I'm really enjoying that. A couple weeks ago, Venerable Nawang mentioned a conversation that we had in the kitchen that I found so helpful because I was not in that mindset of happily, humbly helping. I was grumbling about mixing the peanut butter, which is one of my least favorite activities because it's so messy when you're stirring the oil. But he helped me shift my mind of just seeing that, yeah, I'm helping, I'm benefiting other people, even if I don't enjoy the peanut butter myself that much. It's all about that perspective. And now I have shifted my mind and I can enjoy stirring the peanut butter because I've slowed down and I'm just like, oh, this is a way that I can help. And I have to do this. So it's really my choice of whether I do it with a grumbly mind, trying to do it as fast as I can so I can go sit and stew somewhere else, or just be present and mindful, yeah, and happily helping. So maybe remember that, yeah, being aware of our interdependence, our interfluence with each other can bring so much joy and benefit, and it's also a much more realistic perspective to see things. So, and also remembering that humility brings happiness and that this is something that everybody wants equally.